And with us now is the president of St. Peter's College, Dr. Eugene Cornacchia. Doctor, welcome. It's a pleasure to have you here. Now, shortly, the college will become a university. What does the change entail besides the name?
Well, it actually recognizes the college's evolution over many years and its rather comprehensive educational program, including the graduate education that we offer, doctoral programs, master's degrees, et cetera.
So it should have been a university.
It should have been done a long time ago, absolutely.
Now, you know, you have said that strengthening the Catholic identity of the college is a critical goal for you. What did you mean?
Well, you know, St. Peter's, being a Jesuit institution, has had really more an identification as a Jesuit educational institution. But we take our Catholic values very seriously and have worked very hard to embrace our Catholic values by connecting to the various constituencies out there in our community. We're really surrounded by a very heavily Catholic environment in Jersey City, Hudson County, as we all know, particularly in the Latino population. So for St. Peter's, it's involved a number of things, including, for example, deepening our programs in Catholic ministry, acquiring a church and a parish, which was a big step for us, St. Aidan's, which really showed our commitment to the larger community.
Now, obviously, and by the way, Gene has been with us many times on our sister program, Caucus, New Jersey, with other colleagues, presidents of other institutions of higher learning. Gene, age-old question, but not answered enough. Why does college cost so much?
Yeah, it is. It's a tough question to answer, but first, colleges, like any institution in our society, are faced with certain rising costs. We've all faced the healthcare challenge that's out there. But we also faced energy costs that rose very rapidly over the last decade or so. We've done a lot of things to try to bring those costs in line, but still, those costs are very, very burdensome to us all. In addition, of course, state support for higher education in New Jersey has been declining over the years. And it predates the current governor and goes back really more than a decade.
But the role of the independent colleges, because we've had former Governor Kane, who was in fact the president of Drew University, talking about this. He in fact has advocated to Governor Christie, and Governor Christie says philosophically he agrees, but he argues the money not there at this point in time. Drew being an independent institution of higher learning. What do you see as the role of New Jersey's independent and private colleges, given that the public institutions seem to be, supposed to be, the first priority?
Yeah, you know, but I think what's often overlooked is that New Jersey's independent or private institutions have a public mission, right? The public mission is that we actually serve students that the state institution really can't afford to serve. I mean, if you think of the 67,000 students that come to our institutions, 67,000 a year are enrolled in private independent colleges. If we did not educate those students, presumably the state would have to build capacity in order to educate those students at hundreds of millions of dollars a year in annual cost to the states. So what we do essentially relieves the state of a greater financial burden. And we do this through fundraising, which helps support our institution's operating budgets, through our private tuition, of course. And we used to do it with some state aid. A very small amount of state aid actually assisted us in this public mission.
You know, I want to get back, if you don't mind, to the issue of the Catholic identity and ask you about the Health and Human Services mandate. Because as you know, some universities, two of them, St. Francis College, Steubenville, and Ave Maria.
Ave Maria.
Ave Maria.
Apparently you've heard of this, Gene.
I have.
They have decided to drop insurance coverage for their employees and the students because of the mandate. What is your attitude and what has been your response to this mandate?
Well, you know, in the state of New Jersey, we have no choice. Because, you know, federal law is one thing, but we're governed also by state law.
What's the state law say?
State law says is that we have to provide the coverage. And so
that's it?
We have no choice.
Is that the end of the discussion?
End of the discussion.
If you want to be a part of the state process and you want to be eligible for the money we just talked about, that's it.
Got to provide the coverage.
Right. So if you didn't provide the coverage, you wouldn't get any state aid, state assistance.
Right. And the way the law also works is if we're going to provide any health insurance coverage to our population, our employees, we have to provide this whole kind of panoply.
So you have been doing.
We've been doing it.
So you've been doing what a lot of people say that it's a violation of the First Amendment.
Right. And in fact, in New Jersey, it's the same situation that's been talked about at the federal level. Though we're a Catholic institution, all right, we are not controlled directly by the Catholic Church, so therefore we don't count as a religious institution under state law.
You're not getting calls from the Vatican?
Not from the Vatican.
But I'll tell you what, the other issue that is important, very important, and it's been talked about by presidents of public and independent and private institutions of higher learning. You've talked about it before. Let's deal with it again. And I'm curious as to see whether we're making any progress, Gene. The so-called brain drain.
Right.
New Jersey exporting, my understanding is, more students to other states to go to college than any other state in the nation. A, why is it? B, are we making any progress keeping kids closer to home?
Well, the why is a difficult question that a lot of people have tried to understand. I think it's in part that students in New Jersey, high school students, when they graduate, want to go somewhere outside New Jersey and have that experience. You know, that's certainly part of it. Very densely populated state, so for many of them, you know, to go elsewhere.
They want some space.
They want some space and new experiences. We're not making any progress, frankly. It's becoming a more difficult problem and challenge. The thing that is so important about this, though, is that most students end up staying in the state where they receive their college education.
When they're done, that's where
when they're
usually
done, that's where they stay.
So that's why it's such a big
That's
problem.
why it's such a problem. New Jersey, in fact, as we all well know, is a state that is, you know, highly educated, very competitive in so many ways in terms of business and its intellectual capital. But as this continues, it erodes that competitiveness of the state. And it also doesn't make economic sense on another level. We spend billions of dollars educating those students, K through 12. Then they go to another state for college.
What can be done about it that hasn't been tried already?
Well, I think incentives to stay in the state of New Jersey, you know, greater awards for students who stay in state.
Financial awards.
Financial awards. Certainly, I'll make a pitch again, more aid or restoring aid to the independent colleges that we lost, all of it, all in one swoop, as we well know.
2 seconds.
We just got a little bit less than a minute left. Sure. Let me go back to the Catholic identity. You're the first.
You're obsessed today.
Of course.
Good
you
stuff.
know, I'm a good Catholic. You are the first lay president of St. Peter's College.
Yes.
Did you feel that was an extra responsibility for you in any way?
I did to an extent, yeah, absolutely. You know, I was Jesuit educated myself at that great institution across the river, Fordham. I was going to mention it, but okay,
I'll
great institution, absolutely. You know, certainly I took my faith very seriously, and I've been at St. Peter's for a long time before becoming president, so it fit me.
How many
like
presidents
a glove.
before you? Like 22, I think.
Oh, I should know. I'm number 22. So
you're number 21. Yeah. So
22.
So I mean, that's a lot of presidents who were
Jesuits.
Jesuits.
Yes, absolutely.
So I mean, what does it sense? You have to prove that you can do it. A layperson can do it. Do you have an extra burden?
Well, you know, I think initially there were some people who wondered whether it would change the nature of the institution to have a layperson.
How long are you there now?
5 years.
We're getting used to you.
Thank
you, Gene.
I think we're done. Thank you.
Stay right there.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.